What's up, YouTube? Angry Asian here, and tonight we're gonna bang my rifle like a hooker and see if the Somogear PEQ15 is up to the test. Alright, so here are the two rifles we're going to be using in the test today, both AR platforms, obviously. The tan one here is my buddy Phil's. He's got a 14.5-inch barrel with the flash suppressor pin and welded to be a full, technically 16. You can see he's got his Somogear PEQ15 on there, and he just likes using the push button option. Here's my SIG 516. This is a piston-driven variant, so we do have a direct impingement versus a piston AR to kind of see how the laser will hold up. Same deal here. Got my Somogear. I got this hooked up to my LaRue vertical grip. You can see I got the cable managed with these little $15 plates I got off Amazon, really nicely wrapping around, going all the way. So that's going to be the main difference here. Both of these rifles, both technically 16-inch barrels, DI, piston, both have the upgrades that I've done in the previous video. And let's see how they'll do. We're going to go ahead and zero them. So there's a couple different ways to achieve a zero with your laser. You could do a parallel zero, you can do a converging zero, you could zero your optic and then zero your laser to your optic, basically co-witness your laser dot with your red dot at a known distance, say 100 yards or whatever. So there's three options here. What I wanted to do was to get the best, most accurate zero possible to really see how well this Somogear is going to hold. So what I've got here is this pretty cool zero target that's made for laser, night vision, and thermal devices. It's made by IR.TOOLs. Pretty high quality. It's printed on that Right in the Rain paper, so real thick. And there are instructions on how to use these things, but it's still pretty fucking confusing. So I figure I'd go ahead and go over how you use one of these targets. So the backside here has the instructions, tells you what type of pasty to use, but probably the most important part is this table down here. So there's two tables depending on if you're going to do a 50-meter zero or a 25-meter zero. In this case, we're going to do a 25-meter. Sorry, it's already got a couple bullet holes in there because I've already been fucking with it. So basically, you are going to take your weapon system, which probably for the majority of you is going to be some type of M4, M16, AR-15 style rifle. And if you're using a PEQ15 style laser, you're going to go through this chart. And what is the position of your laser? Is it going to be on the top, right, or left on your rail? Because that obviously affects, your zero here. I want to interrupt for a moment and talk about laser placement in regards to your weapon system. My experience with the LA5 laser is, a decade plus old now because I'm a middle-aged fucker now. Anywho, as you can see in this photo, this was taken in old Trashcanistan at the end of our deployment. This is my squad and our aptly named Bang Bus. Funny story about these Chinese piece of shit buses. These are what we use to shuttle ourselves from our compound to the airfield, so that we could, take off and go on missions and whatever. But when you got like 20 fully loaded Rangers with all their gear and bullshit, dude, these fucking things could barely make it up the hill, man. I swear to God, I thought every fucking time you were going to take one, the thing was just going to freaking burst into flames on the side of the fucking road. Anyways, as you can see in this photo, every single guy in this photo is running an LA5, and top, left, right. There was really no, SOP to mounting these things. Obviously, just put it on there and get the fucking thing zeroed. So my personal preference is that I like to have it on top. I know that having it on top can obstruct some of the view through an optic. I run an EOTech XPS, and I can see a little bit of the top of the Somogear when I look through the optic. But, it doesn't bother me personally. I like having it on top because it gives my weapon a narrower profile. You don't have something hanging off the side, so it's less likely to snag on things, and depending on, the environment you're in. For example, if you're running around through the woods, it's more likely to snag on a branch when it's on the side versus on the top of your weapon system there. Another advantage I think about running it on top of your rifle is that when you're shooting behind cover, you're less likely to obstruct the laser itself. Oh, and one more funny thing about this photo now that I notice it. Take a look. No one's running backup iron sights. Yeah, battery gang for life, guys. It tells you what type of pasty you're going to use. Pasties. For this one, we use the reflective laser one. And here's a very important part here, the X and the Y axis, on where you need to actually have point of impact. And this is dependent on how you have your laser mounted on your rail. Most of us are probably going to mount it on the top, and that's how mine is set up. But if you do have it on the right or left, just make sure that you are adjusting your point of impact accordingly. So in this case, since it's on the top, our X-axis is going to be -2 centimeters and -0.7 centimeters for the Y-axis. So I've already got the laser pasty on here, and you can see it is very reflective. When you do put your laser on there, your visible laser on there, it's super fucking bright, so it's very easy to see. And going by that chart, we know we have to go -2 on the X and -0.7 on the Y. And you can kind of see I've put a little circle here off that 0. Each of these squares is 1 centimeter. So 2 centimeters negative, 0.7 on the Y negative going down. And you'll see that this target also has multiple 5 altogether areas where you can put that pasty to kind of confirm your 0. And you see I've already gone ahead and labeled that because again, that's where my point of impact wants to be. You can see I've already shot this thing. I'm getting pretty damn close. This is my last iteration here, so I need to move over just a little bit. Here's where the shit gets confusing. It's not like zeroing an optic. You're basically gonna do the reverse opposite. So if your rounds are hitting here, if you had an optic, you would say, okay, I need to go down, however many here, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, and I have to go right 1, 2, 3, 4. With the laser, it's opposite. You're going to actually adjust your laser to go up 4 and left 4. And the reason is because you're moving the laser in relationship to the point of impact of the rounds coming out of your barrel. So think about it, right? On my setup, if I'm looking down the rail, the PEQ15 laser is on the top right. When I'm aiming at this target, that laser should be hitting right here, but my rounds should be hitting here because again, my barrel is here and my laser is top right in relationship to it. So again, when you make your adjustments, do the opposite of what you would do with a red dot. If you have to go down and to the right, you're actually going to adjust it left and up. I know, it sounds retarded and the shit gives me dyslexia, which is why I made this video. So put your laser on the low power, because you want it to be as dim as you can, right? Yeah, because the brighter it's going to be, the more it's going to like mess with your MOA, right? So put on the low power, and yep, just line it up right in the middle. Right where you can let go of the rifle and your sandbags will just kind of like keep it there, you know what I mean? Yeah. And you'll see, you'll know where the brightest spot is because there's that sweet point, right, where it just lights up right in front of your eyes. Where'd your laser go? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Already? One shot? No.
No, there's no way.
I was like, oh no! Yeah. I was like, oh shit! That thing fucking lasted one shot. Don't buy it.
Hilarious.
That would have sucked ass, man. All that fucking work for nothing.
What do you think? Three?
I would do, if I was you, I would do at least 4 or 5.
Okay. Just
so we can make sure we get a good group. Oh, getting that one fucking strayer that fucks up your day.
Yeah. One more shot.
Alright. right, let's go check it out. All right, we got our IR targets up here. One thing I will mention to help you save ammo, and this is assuming that your red dot is zeroed. So again, we talked about where your point of aim, point of impact should be. I have these marked here with your PEQ15s on top. That's where your point of impact should be with your laser aim, with your laser lighting up this pasty right in the middle. So to save yourself some ammo, when you're at your 25-yard mark, getting your rifle set up at the bench, put your red dot right here, and then slowly adjust your laser until it ends up over here. This will get you at least somewhat in the ballpark and save you some ammo, and so you won't be all over the fucking paper, and that way it'll get you way closer to where you need to be, and then you can get those fine-tuned adjustments in. Let's see what that looks like.
Nice.
All right, here's that 5-round group that I just shot. A little more of a horizontal spread than I would have liked, but that's okay. So I need to go 1, probably about 2 up. Now, the weird thing about these targets, these are not 1 MOA. I believe it's 1.5 centimeters for an MOA, so that each square is 1 by 1 centimeter. So 1 MOA would be a square and a half, so 2 would be 3 squares. We'll do 2 clicks. And again, because it's the laser, you got to do the opposite of what you're doing with your red dot. So, if you had my red dot, I'd say, okay, I need to go up 2. I'm going the opposite. I'm adjusting my laser down 2. So we're gonna go down 1, 2, 2 clicks. See what that looks like. All right, here's my last iteration. I think I can count maybe 4 holes here, maybe had 1 stringer, but I'm definitely getting close to where I'm starting to blast the actual reflector pasty here. So I'm just gonna do 1 more click. So I gotta go left. So again, we're gonna go opposite with the laser. So let's see, if I wanted to go, I need to go 1 left, so I'll go right, 1 right on the laser setting. Right, make that last adjustment. I wanted to go left, so I need to go 1 right. Makes sense, dirt. Okay, hopefully you see the last one. Come on, you. I don't think it's lighting up as much. It's got some holes in it.
Yeah.
I got 1 more, right? 5. Alright, let's check that out. Here's the last iteration. It looks like I kind of came down here. Here's that 5-round group. So going to the right actually pushed a lot further than I thought. So I'm actually going to go back to where I was on the left. And my buddy Phil was saying that when he was looking through the binos, that the laser at certain times is really more reflective here on the bottom, that bottom point of this diamond than in the center. So I'm just gonna have him be a separate set of eyes, making sure I got it right in the middle. And let's just check one more time. Actually, what I'm gonna do, let's take this off and put it on another one, just so.
Yeah.
We'll put it right on that top one there. That way, we got some fresh paper. They make themselves look cooler than they sometimes can be. You know what I mean? Like, when you have how much of that shit ends up on the cutting room floor, you know? Yeah. Alright, so anyway. That shot was perfect. Right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, you hit right in the same spot too. Nice. Left. Okay. One more. Down. Right. It's almost like a video game. All right, here we go, guys. Looks like this last iteration here. I'm kind of in between. Some of that's probably on me. I had Phil looking. He was telling me when to pull my shots when he saw that laser basically in the middle. I think I'm going to be okay with this for now. You know, this is supposed to zero us going all the way out to about like 200, I believe. Can't remember if it was 200 or 300. But we're going to fucking find out, man. We're going to shoot some steel with this shit. We're going to get Phil's shit on target, get him zeroed. All right, we've been having a hell of a time trying to get Phil's Somogear here zeroed, and come to find out that when we put it on the rail, as we tightened it, the whole thing actually began to move incrementally, and we actually maxed out the X range on this, the left and right, and we still couldn't get in line. And come to find out, what's happened here is that this guy has actually developed a small crack. And so what happens is that as we tighten this on the rail, that crack just, you know, gets bigger and bigger. It ends up causing this case to flex, and it's actually causing the whole thing, like let's say if it was supposed to be like this, it is slightly actually turning it to the left. So needless to say, we cannot get a good zero on this unit. We will put it on there and we will just kind of go with what we got, but from this point on we'll be looking at my unit for the testing. Alright guys, we're going to go ahead and take this thing out to, it's a little about 100 yards out there to that target. I went ahead and took those reflective pasties off our zero targets and put them on that piece of steel. At 100 during the day here, and it's probably about 97 degrees, I can't see that laser on the steel at that distance, so we're hoping that we can maybe get some reflective visualization to see that we're, you know, we got a good point of aim, and let's see if we can hit that steel target from here just using the laser. And so Phil's gonna be right next to me. He's got his binos because he can see out there way better than I can right now with the setup. Right there.
Nice.
There you go, 100 yards. Let's do it again. Yep, that was good. Yep. I think that one went off.
I think you're definitely hitting the left side of that target. That's solid.
That seems pretty good to me.
Yeah.
What are these kids yelling at us here, man?
I hear him too. Nice.
Oh, I think I knocked it off.
The sticker?
Yeah, I got nothing now. I think that pastie's
Yeah,
gone.
Yeah, I think so too.
Probably a good time for a break either way there.
Yeah.
All right, let's go check it out, guys. Okay guys, so we've got our 100-yard zero. We're pretty good with that. Obviously hitting steel at 100. We're gonna do a little more close range shooting at steel. It's pretty bright out here, so it's really hard to see that green laser. So we might do a little bit of moving and shooting, but probably most of it we'll be using some type of brace, some type of position so that we can get good shots.
Shit.
Still pretty accurate within 25, obviously. We'll just keep freaking shooting and shooting and shooting. Yeah, there you go. Nice.
It's getting heavy, dude. I don't know how you guys even... Nice.
All right, guys, the last thing I want to talk about during our little day laser shooting iteration is actually use of barriers and cover. You're going to see me basically throw all my shooting fundamentals out the window because we have a laser to work with. And the beauty of that is that, you know, I don't have to get into a perfect breathing, tight body position, you know, good trigger squeeze, all that shit. If I can get my laser on target and I can see it and I can pull the trigger, it's gonna fucking hit the target, man. And this is really coincides with what really happens in warfare. If you think dudes are just going into the middle of freaking alleys and streets, shooting at each other and they're wide open, yeah, that's not how it works, man. You'll see all types of crazy shit if you are ever in a real combat situation like this. And this, again, is why the laser has a huge advantage, because I can do things like use my cover and just use my laser, and I don't have to worry about looking down my sights to the barrel, right? I can come all around and do fucking crazy shit. That's the whole point.
Several months later.
So it took me a few months before I could go out and do some night vision shooting, because I live in the Pacific Northwest, where in the summers it's light out till almost midnight sometimes, and it's kind of hard to do any night vision shooting that late out without pissing off the neighbors and all my favorite shooting spots. But I digress. At this point, the Somogear has sustained probably about 300 rounds of day firing. So for our nighttime shooting test, I'll be shooting at these dueling trees. They have 6-inch steel AR-500 paddles on them, and I am shooting from distances primarily between about 20 yards to about 35 yards, a mix of standing from shooting, kneeling, and prone. As far as ammo, I'm literally using the cheapest shit I can get my hands on, which is often Winchester white box, just 55 grain, nothing special. And I want to make note that I'm shooting more for speed than accuracy. Main reason being is that I have a lot of ammo that I need to shoot, and I wanted to put the Somogear through its paces, so I figured more rapid firing would, put more of a pounding on the unit. So one thing I noticed, right from the start is that the high power laser, it's too fucking bright. I mean, when I shine it on those 6-inch paddles, it completely washes the target out. Like, I can't even tell what I'm looking at. So all the shooting in these videos is done just on the regular power IR laser. And if you're wondering why I'm often activating the laser on and off before engaging the target, it's that even just the regular laser is very, very bright on those 6-inch steel paddles. So I am activating it on the target as best as I can to make sure that it is actually on the target and engaging, because again, it's a damn bright laser. It washes out a lot.
Time hitting that fucking one.
So I'm ready to do some long distance shooting. So I've put some 1x1 reflective tape squares on the face of the paddles on the dueling tree. It's just so I can see it as I get further out. And I'm about 75 plus yards out at this point, and I can't hit shit. I didn't nail a single one at all. So I fired a few shots and then decided to move in a little closer. Now I'm about 50 yards out, and I still can't hit a damn thing. And at this point, I'm beginning to wonder if my Somogear has lost zero. I'm probably at around 700-ish rounds at this point. Fire a few more shots and move in a little more. Now I've moved up to the 25-yard line, and I can't hit a damn thing. And at this point, I think I've lost zero because I was nailing the targets on the dueling tree from this distance earlier without so much of an issue. And here I'm actually going for accuracy and not speed and not able to hit anything.
Several days later.
All right, we're back here in the daytime, and as I'd mentioned in the last segment, it looks like that my Somogear here has lost zero. I'm going to tighten this up just a little more to see if that maybe came loose. And I'm going to reconfirm zero at about 25, that target out there. Here's my target at the 25-yard line. That's the IR.TOOLs target we were using before, so as you can see, it's already been shot up. But I'm going to be aiming at these two bottom diamonds here, and because I don't have the reflector it came with, I ended up just cutting some 1x1 squares of that reflective tape, and that should just work just fine. So go figure, after 2 shots my Somogear died and wouldn't turn back on, but it just turned out I needed to replace the battery. So I figure that battery has lasted 5 months, about 800 rounds at this point, and also, been used in several demonstrations, aka showing it off to my neighbors. So I'd say that's not too bad, actually. All right, here's my target. Here's where I was aiming. Here's where I was hitting. So it's kind of funny that all my shots ended up on the other reflector. But yeah, you can definitely see I had quite a bit of zero shift right here. And it looks like it's really just all horizontal. I got a pretty good 3-round group right in there out of that 5. So let me see if I can walk this back over here. But I'm wondering if I'm going to have the same issue that Phil had with his, where he ends up maxing out how far his zero turret could go because his case was cracked. But let's go back and take a look. All right, so here's my last little grouping here, pretty close to where I wanted to be. It looks like I'm still getting a halfway decent group out of there. So, I mean, I did lose zero, but I was able to re-zero it. It looks like it's still holding. Let me shoot at some of these steel targets over here just to see how it's gonna do, and we'll wrap all this up.
So,
final thoughts about the Somogear PEQ15. For 250 bucks, this is a pretty legit piece of hardware, I'd say. Now granted, yeah, it did lose 0 on me around the 750 round mark, but you know, any type of laser aiming module, it's typical that you're going to have to re-zero it right around 1,000 rounds. My experience as a ranger with the LA5 was basically every time that we even went on a night shoot, we would be zeroing these damn things beforehand. Just because, you know, it's not a 100% reliable piece of equipment, you know. It's something that's battery powered, it's electronics, so you have to constantly maintain it. So just something to keep in mind. Now, is this the laser that I would want to take through the mountains of Afghanistan or to shoot ninjas that are paragliding through the sky? No, but I think that this laser is a great laser for, you know, like backup rifles that you may have, any type of weapons that you want to put a laser on but don't want to invest a whole lot of money. I mean, you can get 4 of these things for $1,000, whereas, you know, you could spend twice that for one of the higher end civilian lasers out there, you know. For now, I'm going to keep rocking this thing. And as far as doing all the upgrades that I did in part 1 of the video, honestly, I don't recommend it unless you have a reason to open up the case in the first place, you know. It doesn't seem that it made any difference in regards to holding 0. And personally, I find the process to be such a pain in the ass that I'm not doing any more of them. So, you know, take it for what it's worth. If you want to, if you got one that's malfunctioning, go for it. Now, if you do decide that you're going to go ahead and crack this case open, get yourself some snap ring pliers like this. These have flat tips on them as opposed to the little points. This is a Craftsman part number 47386. I don't know if they make it anymore, but you open up the front of the case, score your edge, put this guy in there, and use this to pop it open. My buddy Phil did recently order the Somogear NGAL, which should be arriving pretty soon, so hope to check that out and possibly make a video, maybe even buy one to replace this guy here. But as I said, I think this thing is pretty sweet for what it is. And from what I understand, the newer models, which would start with the 8, that would be the 800,000 series, are made of a more durable or thicker polymer housing to hopefully prevent that cracking that happened on Phil's PEQ15 right there at the rail. At the $250 mark, I don't think you're going to find a whole lot of lasers out there that are going to perform as well as this guy does. I mean, this thing is ridiculously bright. In fact, the ultra high power laser, it's so fucking bright, it's damn near unusable. I found when trying to engage targets, you know, those 6-inch steel targets on the dueling trees, just the reflection alone from the high power laser just washes everything out. It lights everything up like a Christmas tree. And I want to note too that, you know, when I was in Ranger Battalion 10 years ago, I think almost every single LA5 that I encountered actually almost always had these lockout screws installed so that we couldn't access the ultra high power settings on these things. And, you know, I can see why now, because it's too fucking bright. The only situations I could think of where it might be handy is if, you know, an emergency situation where you need to signal a fucking airplane, or you got a buddy that lives half mile down the road and you want to laser sword fight each other. Hey, there you go. Go for it. So what are you waiting for? Go buy one. Or save your money towards a better laser. I don't know. Who knows what the hell I'm talking about anymore. Anyways, thanks for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, all that bullshit. We'll catch you next time. Now, 99% of the missions we did were at night, and in this particular case, we were just exfilling from a night raid operation.
As we reach the outskirts of this town, one of our up-armored Humvees gets stuck. Minutes turn to a few hours, so we end up setting up a blocking position, creating perimeter to make sure that no one's getting close to us, because you never know if a dude's going to come with a gun or an IED or whatever. Anyways, the sun starts rising and the town starts waking up. Lots of activity starts to happen as people wake up, start getting ready for work, whatever. And as the sun's coming up, it's very, very foggy. And there's these two dudes on 150cc moped just headed right towards us, right? So about a half dozen of us, we start shining our white light at them to signal, hey, stop. They don't stop. Next thing we do is we shine our red lasers on them. So this dude is just putting along. All of a sudden, he's got a half dozen plus red lasers right in the center of his chest and on his face, right? He pulls over the side of the fucking road, right? Him and the other dude are wearing straight up man dresses. Pull those fuckers off, butt ass naked, showing us, hey, we don't have any guns, we don't have any bombs. That shit was pretty fucking funny, man. And with all that morning fog and all those red lasers shining at him, it looked like a fucking museum trap. It was something out of a movie. It reminds me of something that my team leader once said, and that was, doesn't matter what country you're from, everybody speaks red laser.
Oh shit. Is that from shrapnel?
Think so.